Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the crew.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Dave.
And today we're going to do, was this a viewer suggestion, you would say?
It was a GM 911 from a while ago, so he probably, there was a lot of back and forth. I think he got his answers, and I just stumbled upon it today or the day before.
So that's Garth from over on our forums, and he wants to know about shared party backgrounds. What kind of mechanics do you do to facilitate it?
Yeah, and so that was basically his question.
But before we go to that, jump down to the description below, sign up for our newsletter. Lots of cool stuff. We'll keep it brief. So,
okay, so what Garth wanted to know, and what he was discussing was whether he should create a mechanic to actually encourage his players to have shared backgrounds.
okay.
Now he did a session 0, and yeah, I guess still he wanted to do even more to encourage the cooperation amongst his players and get them to get together. So for this, honestly, I used to take a lot of responsibility for getting people together and manipulating the players to come together for that first adventure. And I realized I won't do that anymore. It was a mistake, and I was putting a lot of extra work on myself to make the game happen. Mm-hmm. Where you sometimes, what the mechanic is to facilitate this, in my opinion, is you go, if you guys don't find a way to work together in the beginning of the game, decide which one of you guys aren't going to be at the game, or which group of you that aren't going to be at the game, because I don't want to jump through a bunch of hoops to make it happen. We're here to play a game, so let's we don't have to make it more difficult than it has to be. You guys come up with a story, player agency, work together, figure out why you guys will be together.
I've been, as we've all stated, we've been gaming for a long time, and I've been in part of a game where GMs literally say, okay, you made your characters, and you're all now, in a location, town, it's the center of town, dealing with some kind of event that's happening. You're all in a tavern, so you're at some kind of locale getting ready to react to a specific event. Doesn't matter the locale. The inn's the typical one for, humorous sake. But I've also been, privy to stories where I've met GMs who literally did individual sessions with characters to get them up to a certain point so that everyone is at a specific point for a specific reason with, some kind of storyline goal. And it's that is an insane amount of work. Multiple sessions, hours of individual gaming. I don't have time for that.
Yeah, if you want to do it, fine. But, I wouldn't put that on anybody and expect it from them.
So I've also done the stuff where it's okay, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this, you've got this. All right, now how am I going to work all of this together? Now, the campaign that I'm running, here at the table, our first session, we only had 3 players. So, and 2 of them were already linked together. It was happenstance that you guys ran into each other, and I set that initial meeting, and, Nerdarchist Ryan was well, my player doesn't really have a reason to go down this path. But I'm going to make the conscious decision to do this because I, as the player, know that this is where the story is. So, as a player, there's times that you have to make those choices. And there's times that you have to make those choices as characters. So, that's part of the game. Now, what you do with your game, that's on you. But I really don't feel that there's a mechanical necessity to make people link their stories. If you want to give a few extra gold, an extra trinket, some kind of, hey, if you guys link your story, the more people that get linked together, the bigger, story reward there could possibly be. You could do something like that.
I think there's 2 people that I heard say it first about the player buy-in, and that was David Sims and Andrew Knapp, SR2 Joker, and they both kind of said along the same lines, but I distinctly remember Andrew saying I don't worry about it. It's their job to figure out why they're together.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as the DM, I got enough to do already. You guys want to play the game, figure out why your characters would be together so we can play the game. You have, especially when you're talking about the super immersive role-playing crowd, the wannabe thespians, they forget that it's an RPG. No matter what you do, the G is still there.
Right.
It's a role-playing game. Games have mechanics, and the game, has a purpose of facilitating fun between a group of people where we tell a collaborative story, and it's not really all that collaborative if you have individuals who, want to be all want to be the snowflakes, and don't look like, at the same time, don't want to have anything to do with each other, and they're like, oh well, the DM can figure that part out.
Yes.
And I used to do that all the time and just think it was my job. And I'm not even talking about like problem players, like just like normal. And it's like, what? Why do we have to do that? We don't really need to do that. We can like cut to the chase and be like, well, why don't you guys work out a reason why you would be together?
Well, like perfect example. We've talked about the Star Wars game that's coming up, and there's to my knowledge we got five players in the game. 3 of us are kind of bounty hunter mercenary type. We've got one that's an official Jedi and one that's a unofficial Jedi. We got the unofficial Jedi over here, who's often his own culture. Well, since he's the snowflake concept, my character is currently now linked to everybody else. You, Bart, and I are all mercenaries, and we're worked together as okay. We work together. I am a failed Jedi. Well, your son's a Jedi. So I started my training with him. So I already know most of the group by one means or another without session 1 having started yet.
So how are you linking to Nate's character? Or is he the only one you're not?
He's the only one I can't link to because he's coming from
somewhere else.
But if I could find a way to work it in, I would try.
Well, I don't have a ship. I got dropped off.
He needs a ride. He's a intergalactic hitchhiker.
I'm an intergalactic hitchhiking Jedi.
Yeah. He stuck his leg out and pulled up his pant leg a little bit.
No, I just went. I'm over here.
He turns the thing to as opposed to the straight blade. It's like sign help. The hitchhiking symbol.
SOS.
So it's. To me, whenever I can do that kind of linkage, I see it as, okay, well, let's help the DM out. Let's get things connected so there isn't that big crutch that he's got to work through. As you said, the DM is already doing so much, and I'm crazy when it comes to background. I literally wrote a 2-page background for a one-shot character that you didn't read until after the game was over.
Like, wow, this is really good.
I like doing that kind of stuff because the more work I can put into a character, the more I feel being able to get into the mindset. Now, I don't consider myself some, crazy wannabe thespian, even though I've done stage work. I just like playing. I like creating characters, and it's more than just stats on a page.
Yeah, I feel like that should be like part of the fun too for the group, like getting together and discussing how they can connect their background. This is why Session 0 is really good too, is this is where you should try and do this, start putting things together, and and the mechanic is we all get to play the game at the same time.
Right.
We've all done it where you're sitting there waiting for your character to be introduced, and it's not fun. There's nothing fun about that at all. The reward is you don't have to sit through that. If you guys can all come up with a reason to be together.
Yeah, hour and a half later.
Hour and a half, 2 hours. I've seen 2 hours.
Yeah. That's way better than a mechanical reward. That's my time in real life reward.
It's so true.
But what about my 10 gold? But if you did need a quick fix for getting everybody together, be like, hey, there's a mercenary guild or just a guild of adventurers getting together, and it's a $10 gold piece sign-up bonus. That's great for a low-level character. Be like, sure, I'll join that guild. And bam, everybody gets 10 extra gold, they're happy, and you have a thing. So that's my suggestion for an actual reward. But I definitely agree with the philosophy of everything that you guys brought up.
Just play the game.
Just play the game.
How do you guys do? Would you actually create a mechanic for it, or do you, as the DM, feel it's your job and responsibility, as I did for years, or are you of the mindset of, like, you guys want to play the game together? Play the game together. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. Like, share, and subscribe.
You can check the articles out over on nerdarchery.com.
And while you're there, you can check out the store.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.